The idea of this project is that we are having our artists, both from our student population and from our staff population, to engage artistically with our documents, to bring their stories to life in art. So our artists will be producing work in response to our collections. It will be done in a range of different formats, including film and audio, glass, sculpture. I mean, it's really, the world is their oyster, as it were. Everyone will also be blogging about the collection as well, which is on their work, which is really important in looking at the artistic inspiration behind it, and also can help future generations of artists inspire them to produce their own work later on.
The documents that I've selected from the National Archives collection for today's workshop cover various different record series in our collection in relation to mental health. So there's a wide variety of things. We're trying to look at intersecting with class and gender in the records as well. So, for example, we've picked out a record on Bristol lunatic asylum from that very early 18th century, which looks at the intersections of class. So inmates' areas are divided by gender and also first, second and third class as well. So looking at the different ways that individuals are treated really in different periods dependent on gender and class as well. There are many other records that we've picked out. So we've got Siegfried Sassoon's service record, which mentions his mental health in relation to his declaration against the war. So that's a powerful statement and is linked into his mental health really, that the authorities see his statement as reflecting on that. So as well as paper documents, we've also looked at some objects that fall into the National Archives collections, so particularly in relation to Chancery. So we've got a jewellery box in relation to an individual called Mary Smith, who was declared a lunatic. That was the language from the time that was used, and that was from 1811. So that item are many small items within a jewellery box that essentially can be opened out and explored that reflect her life. And these were kind of seized in a court case because she was deemed unfit to kind of own those items.
The documents that I've selected today again cover a range of our collections from UCA, largely dating around the 1980s and 1990s. And again, as Vicky mentioned, you can't just take mental health just by itself. There are obviously intersections again with gender and class. So the collections include records from the Tessa Boffin archive, who covered photography relating to sexuality. And so, for example, we look at the importance of having role models for the LGBT community and how for young people to come to terms with their sexuality today. So we have records relating to an exhibition that covers the LGBT community. We've also got records, letters from individuals who have been able to speak out in the Working Press Archive, which are books by and about working class artists in 1986 to 1996. So we have individuals from marginalised group seeking to be published with this collection, it's really important at this stage. They are able to speak with their own voice. So we don't just have the official record; they can speak out, which is one of the great things about working with modern records as well, I think. We've also got information from our institutional collections, including some of our alumni magazines. So we have records from some of our alumni talking about the art of war, which, for example, kind of links quite nicely to Mervyn Peake's illustrations as well. And so real life practice from some of our own alumni relating to art therapy as well.
So we've chosen the theme of mental health for this particular exploration of the National Archive and UCA's records because it seems a particularly poignant one, but particularly because the way the collections work, there's lots of differences really in those kind of records, from the kind of more modern records to the older ones. Certainly in the National Archives collections there's lots of barriers to accessing mental health related records because of the language and the terminology often used at the time, and so it's a really important area to try and open up more. So we really like the idea of artists being able to help with that process and make people aware of what we have, and for our records, particularly at the National Archives, almost filling gaps where the government perspective is almost talking about people rather than giving them their individual voice. Although that's not always the case, it's a good starting point for inspiration and just to see how people react from there really.
Yes, so we've chosen the theme of mental health because it is really important to bring as these stories that of people that often don't have their own voice, as Vicky mentioned, to life. It's really important that people today can engage with these records, engage with these people, and I believe it helps bring greater understanding if we can see this information from the past. It's also it's really nice seeing really quite early records to today, because obviously it's a really universal theme, and being able to artistically engage with these collections as well is really important in terms of art therapy, for example. So it's important, interesting on lots of different levels.
It's been really brilliant today to have students and staff members from UCA in to look at the records from the National Archives in their original format, and to see all their responses to things that are incredibly old, also have archaic language and things like that, and to see the different types of interpretations that I couldn't have possibly kind of imagined of our material. So it's really the beginning of the process, but it's a very exciting point, so we're kind of looking forward to seeing how they develop from here.
Disability and mental health is really key for artists at the moment. So I was very pleased with it was obviously a theme that also resonated as well. Yeah, it's just fantastic to see how enthusiastic and different ideas that everyone's putting together.